Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Sri Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Vallabha Bhagavan Ki Jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we're reading from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 3, Text 36. Nanta bahi divanaktam anyasmarapi chayudai nabumo nambare mrityu nanare namrige api nantarbahi divanaktam anyasmanapi chayudai nabumo nambare mrityu nanare namrige api nantarbahi divanaktam anyasmadapi chayudai nabumo nambare mrityu nanare namrige api. Someone else? Namrige api nantabahi divanaktam Vaishnavis? Divanaktam anyasmadapi chayudai nabumo nabare mrityu nanare namrige api bahi divanaktam anyasmadapi chayudai nabumo nabare mrityu nanare namrige api. Na, not, anta, inside. Bahi, outside the home. Diva, during the daytime. Naktam, during the night. Anyasmat, from any others beyond Lord Brahma. Api, even. Cha, also. Are you die by any weapons used within this material world? Na, not. Bhumo, on the ground. Na, not. Ambare, in the sky. Mrityu, death. Na, not. Narai, by any men. Na, no. Mrigai, by any animal. Api, also. Translation: grant me that I not die within any residence or outside any residence, during the daytime or at night, nor on the ground or in the sky. Grant me that my death not be brought by any being other than those created by you, nor by any weapon, nor by any human being or animal. Purport: Hiranyakashipu was very much afraid of Vishnu's becoming an animal to kill him, because his brother had been killed by Vishnu when the Lord took the shape of a boar. He was therefore very careful to guard against all kinds of animals. But even without taking the shape of an animal, Vishnu could kill him by hurling his Sudarshana chakra, which can go anywhere without the Lord's physical presence. Therefore, Hiranyakashipu was careful to guard against all kinds of weapons. He guarded against all kinds of time, space, and countries because he was afraid of being killed by someone else in another land. There are many other planets, higher and lower, and therefore he prayed for the benediction of not being killed by any resident of any of these planets. There are three original deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Hiranyakashipu knew that Brahma would not kill him, but he also wanted not to be killed by Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva. Consequently, he prayed for such a benediction. Thus, Hiranyakashipu thought himself securely protected from any kind of death caused by any living entity within this universe. He also carefully guarded against a natural death which might take place within his house or outside his house. And I'll just read through, we'll finish the end of the chapter, just one more verse. Translation: grant me that I not meet death from any entity, living or non-living. Grant me further that I not be killed by any demigod or demon or by any great snake from the lower planets. Since no one can kill you in the battlefield, you have no competitor. Therefore, grant me the benediction that I too may have no rival. Give me sole lordship over all the living entities and presiding deities, and give me all the glories obtained by that position. Furthermore, give me all the mystic powers attained by long austerities and the practice of yoga, for these cannot be lost at any time. Purport: Lord Brahma obtained his supreme position due to long austerities and penances, mystic yoga, meditation, and so on. Hiranyakashipu wanted a similar position. The ordinary powers achieved by mystic yoga, austerities, and other processes are sometimes vanquished, but the powers obtained by the mercy of the Lord are never vanquished. Hiranyakashipu therefore wanted a benediction that would never be vanquished. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 7th canto, 3rd chapter of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, entitled Hiranyakashipu's Plan to Become Immortal. So, all about Hiranyakashipu, and we're reading all these verses now, going into the next chapter. Now that he gets these things, and the next chapter is entitled, he wants all these things and he gets all these things, and what does he do? He terrorizes the universe. Instead of doing the good things, he wants to terrorize everyone. And of course this is, a very fortuitous, because in another month or so, a little bit more, I think in early May, beginning of May, there's Lord Nrsingadev's appearance day anniversary celebration. I think I remember May 4th or something like that, the anniversary of Lord Nrsingadev. So we're reading about Hiranyakashipu. We've already read about Hiranyaksha and how they are formerly jive the spiritual world, the doorkeepers in the Vaikuntha who were cursed and became the Asuras. So that's the position of asuras. They get something, and as I just mentioned, they abuse it, they misuse it, and actually everything we get is God-given, because everything emanates from the Supreme Personality of God. And even those who are giving benedictions, their position is from Krishna also. Krishna, original Krishna Stup Bhagavan Swayam is the original. All others come from Krishna. But of course, he has nothing to do with the material world as such directly. He expands himself and incarnates, expands himself, Balaram and then Sankarshan, and then you have all the Vishnus, Mahavishnu, and the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Chiradakshaya Vishnu. And the Vishnu expansions, they are doing the work. And of course the Leela avatars, they come as Lord Nrsingadev and so on. So Krishna is enjoying with Radha, the gopis in a Vrindavan of the spiritual world, or the Vrindavan replica in this world. So Krishna is such an amazing personality. Amazing personality. He's supreme enjoyer. Supreme enjoyer. So anyway, we were reading here about Hiranyakashipu, Hiranya gold, Kashipu, the soft bed, pillow. So generally this is the materialistic dream, to have a lot of money, to have a lot of power, fame, to have a lot of enjoyment. Kashipu, bed, means sex life. This is the dream of the materialist. They don't understand the higher things. Now, Hiranyakashipu was not ordinary asura, like many in this material world. At least myself. You're all wonderful devotees. But I remember when I was first coming, visiting the temple here, we had one shop in the city, and every week they would have the feast there. They wouldn't have, the temple was just very small, not before here, it was in St Kilda. And then we had the feasts in the city, and so I would come sometimes there. And I remember one time there was a puppet show. Do you still have puppet shows anymore? We used to do a lot of puppet shows in the early days. We used to do a lot of drama and puppet shows. Very popular. Everyone likes good puppet show. The children especially like puppet show. And one time I came, they were doing the puppet show of this Leela. Of one puppet was actually the time I can remember was one puppet was Prahlad Maharaj. And the other puppet was his father, Hiranyakashipu. And so, Hiranyakashipu was one puppet, and they were talking, and it was the scene where Hiranyakashipu, why are you worshipping the Lord Vishnu? Who has powers more than me? And then Prahlad Maharaj was preaching, my dear father, your powers come from the Supreme Personality, just like everyone in this universe. He is the greatest of all, and all others. And so he addressed the puppet Prahlad addressed my dear Asura, my dear Asuras, all my dear Asuras, and he faced all of us who were watching. He said, the puppet was like this, my dear Asuras. Oh, I had been coming for some time, and I thought, oh, well, why is he calling us all Asuras? My dear Asuras. What's he mean? They were facing all my dear Asuras. So that the position is like that, though, because actually we are Asuras. Those who are not devotees, so there's the Sura and the Asura. Those who are devotees, they are called Sura, and Asura is the one not non-devotee. So those who do not take up the path of devotional service, they are Asuras. And of course, many people who were coming, they were on just making contact, but probably they were more in the Asura category. So the puppet Prahlad, he was saying, my dear Asuras. And so the Asuras, they want these things. Now, Hiranyakashipu, he is wanting all these different things, but he could have stopped just immediately he could have stopped, just said, grant me that I not die. Grant me that I not die. Of course, he puts all, he states many things that he doesn't want happening. Grant me that I not die with any residence. Because actually Prabhupada mentions here, at some point he realized, in the previous verses he was addressing Lord Brahma as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme, who is unlimited, unmanifested form, has expanded the cosmic manifestation, the form of totality of the universe, possesses external, internal energies, which consists of all the living entities. And he goes on, O my Lord, being changelessly situated in your own abode, you expand your universal form within this cosmic manifestation. So it could be that he's normally we read so many prayers of great personalities and they address the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, or one of the incarnations, or Krishna, in this type of way. And but here we're finding that Hiranyakashipu is addressing Lord Brahma like that. But interestingly enough, and the Prabhupada points out, he must have realized that he is supreme within this universe. Because when you read very carefully his prayers, you expand your universal form within this cosmic manifestation. So that could mean the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the cosmic manifestation, but who expands through his expansions, as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu especially, and the Chirodakshaya Vishnu. He's expanding this cosmic manifestation. But in one sense, Lord Brahma is also doing, because he is the firstborn, and he's expanding, he is empowered to expand all these different planetary systems and arrange things in such a way. So in one sense, this could also refer to Lord Brahma. And we see the language here. Well, he goes, you are Brahman, the super soul, the oldest, the personality of Godhead. In one sense, Lord Brahma, can act like the super soul because he can know about everything that goes on within this universe. He is empowered, just like Yamaraj is also empowered. He knows what the activities of the human beings are, and he is seeing what is the karma. So there are great personalities within this universe who have got certain powers unimaginable to us human beings. So Yamaraj is thus empowered. Of course, great demigods, Agni, fire, and Indra, all the water element, fire element, Vivishvan, heat, light element. These are elements that are unimaginable, that any individual could have powers to be able to control these elements of light, elements of heat, and water, and so on and so forth. So they're empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, it's not possible. Normally, the materialists, especially materialistic scientists, they think that somehow or other these elements are in existence and by themselves they are manifesting and going on in so many different ways. It's not ultimately very logical that elements in of themselves can be so orderly. So orderly. Water is so orderly, just like the ocean is so orderly. Every day, just like today, you can go and look up what time it is the high tide. High tide, you can see they've calculated the high tide will be such and such time. And if you go there, oh yeah, there's high tide. And low tide will be such and such time. You go, oh yeah, the ocean's gone, and there's low tide. So they can tell you. And tomorrow, moonrise will be such time. Oh yeah, there we can go and see. The setting of the moon, sunrise will be such and such time. And you go out, oh yes, 7:20, I think. I was looking the other day, supposed to be here, was the other day. 7:20 in the morning is a sunrise. So these planets by themselves, without any other action by themselves the sun is going like that. That exactly. Even 1 year from now, they can say the sunrise in 2024 on this day will be that time. So somehow or other, all right, so they've been set in motion, but somehow or other they're organising themselves and the elements are coming about. So it's, they have many different explanations and very highly academic sounding explanations, but from the viewpoint of the Vedic presentation, it's not possible but for elements themselves, chemicals just jumped together and our body was created. And some chemicals came together and then the body of the bear came. And other ones came together and the body of the fish. But the explanation is like that. But to us who are following Vedic literature, it sounds very incredible. Of course, they are saying so many things that are explained in the Veda that is not acceptable, can't be verified, so on and so forth. But even as far as modern presentation of how things are going on, can't really be verified totally. So anyway, we find that those great demigods have very enormous powers. And Lord Brahma, he has enormous powers. He is the original person. He has no real father and mother as such. His father, of course, you could say, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and the mother could be Prakriti, material nature, but not like ordinary human being with the mother and father. So he's a very great personality, and certainly very wonderful. And Hiranyakashipu is offering his prayers. He did tapasya. We read earlier, he did the tapasya so much so, how much determination he had. Even Lord Brahma, when he came there, and many other sages came with him, he was very amazed that he was just sitting there doing the tapasya and his body had been eaten away. We read already. His body had been eaten away by the ants and other insects and been covered over by the grass and sticks being covered over, and there was nothing, all the flesh, everything was gone. He was existing within his bones. But still he was existing somehow or other by great determination, some mystic power. He was existing and trying to get the darshan and blessings of Lord Brahma. He was a great devotee of Lord Brahma. Of course, he didn't like Lord Vishnu because Lord Vishnu had come and manifested as Lord Varaha and killed his brother. So he didn't, but he thought that Lord Brahma, so he's praying like that. And somehow or other, he's making all these statements which could be understood to be referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond this world and not subject to the actions and reactions of this world. These sort of statements are generally reserved for that Supreme Personality of God in the form of the Vishnu, Narayan, and as I said, some avatars that descend, incarnations, or the Krishna, the Supreme Personality. So generally these type of statements are referred to in that way. But here we're seeing they're referring to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma is so powerful that just by the water from his kamandalu, he just sprinkled on it, and a new body, Hiranyakashipu had a new body that was so powerful. What is that thing? Strong as the thunderbolts. It was actually described. Very powerful, youthful body. He rose up. And so now he's got the new body, very powerful body. Generally people, they're wanting these types of things to get very powerful, strong body, especially man. He likes to have a body with muscles. Woman likes to have body, very beautiful body, and then they're happy. If woman can have very beautiful body, man can have very muscular, strong body, then they're very happy. If someone says your body is very horrible, they're very horrible. Yeah. If it's a lady, or you're very ugly lady, Why are you saying like that? But if you say, oh, you're so beautiful, oh, thank you very much. You've got nice hair. Oh, thank you. Actually, I remember Prabhupada, he said, he was sitting in the airport with Hansaduda, my godbrother. He was in, I think it was Paris, and I remember this story. And there was some very aristocratic lady sitting, and then Hansaduda, and then Prabhupada was thinking that he should speak to her about Krishna consciousness, and he asked his disciple Hansaduda to speak to her first, and he said, let's just go over and just initially just say, hello, how are you? And and nice to meet with you. And you're looking very nice. You have very beautiful hair. And Hansen said, no, I can't go and say like that. No, go. And so he went, and then she said, oh, thank you. She accepted the compliment. And in that way, because she accepted, then he was able to start speaking about, in due course of time, about the Krishna consciousness. So people are very much identifying in that way, with their body, nice and strong, and or beautiful, or, and they're always wishing for these things, to have a lot of money, to have power. And so we're seeing here, Hiranyakashipu, he wants great power. First of all, to have, and he wanted great power, and in the last verse we read, the final verse of this chapter, the last, he says, give me sole lordship over all the living entities and presiding deities. So much power he wanted. I wanted to be like a god. Bow down before me. Later on we'll read, he gained this because Lord Brahma had given him this blessing, and then later on he stopped any other worship of any other deva or anyone else. And he sent his soldiers everywhere just to check it. Who is doing it? Brahmanas, and stop what yajna, what ritual you are doing. If they hear Agni, Indra, stop it immediately. Don't do it, or you will be killed. And any deity, smash it. Any picture, take it, stop it immediately. Still in some countries like that. One devotee who he said for work he went to Saudi Arabia, and there you're not supposed to, even if you're a foreigner, you're not supposed to do any other worship there. He said one time in his apartment, he had some just pictures of Radha Krishna there, and then all of a sudden someone was knock on the door. They have the religious police. They knocked on his door, and we got report that you are worshipping some idol. You have to take it immediately, you will be deported. They're very strict Muslim countries, Saudi Arabia. And the neighbor had seen he saw through the window. Oh, yes, a great offense. And so he reported to the police. They came, just stop it immediately. And they took it. They took the pictures, confiscated. If you continue, then you're deported. At least they didn't kill. But here, Hiranyakashipu, he threatened to kill. You continue, you will be killed. If you want to worship anyone, you worship me. If you want to do murti, make my murti. Put there. My murti. My picture you put there. You worship. And Om Namo Hiranyakashipu Swaha. You do like that. Then he's very happy. Oh, that's very good. And we see in the world today still, the leaders they like to be worshipped. They are worshipped by just the culture. You go to some very authoritarian regimes in the countries, and they are worshipped, the leaders, and that's an offense to not offer good praises to the leader of the country. You can't, there's one country, one devotee told me, one of the islands in the Pacific, he said that it is an offence. He was the king. A king in one of the small islands. He was the king. And the car of the king drove past, and he saw everyone. They got down on their knee and they offered respect. And he didn't do so. Later they told him, oh, if you just see the car of the king, you have to stop and offer your respect, bow down. You have to bow down. Even if he just drives past, you have to bow down. They said, and then he found out later, because he had some of the friends of the devotees told him that one of them was in the car with the king. He's in a high position. And he was in the car, and he said the king actually said something to him. Who was that man who didn't bow down? Who was that one? And he stopped short of doing anything about it, but he just commented, this one, he didn't bow down? So forcefully. Of course, people don't like to bow down. They're very puffed up. They don't mind others bowing down to them. You want to bow down to me, just like Hiranyakashipu. But he doesn't like to bow down to anyone else. Eventually we all have to bow down to the forces of material nature. We cannot escape. Even though here we see, grant me that I might, but that I not meet death. In the first, he's asking again and again, that I may not die. I don't want to die. Now, no one really in there with a sane mind wants to die. And if we could live forever, but live forever even without getting old, just live forever with full strength and intelligence and strength. Beauty is always there. Strength is handsome is always there. Everyone, they wish for these things. They wish, and in a human society, especially in the Kali Yuga, it is an impossibility. Sometimes some people are portrayed like that I remember reading the comics and now in the movies, all these superheroes. They're very strong, they live eternally, they're abnormal creatures like some vampire or something like that. And the vampires, they live forever, some abnormal, but so it is like that. Someone is a vampire and they live forever, always like beautiful. Of course, they're very abnormal creatures. And there's all sorts of stories. They can't go in the daytime in the sun and all sorts of things like that if they're a vampire. Or they're the Superman. They have all these superheroes. So someone like that, they're very strong. And everyone idolizes, and it's very popular that they go and read these. In our day, it was more the comics, and now they go to see the movies. I read that they're the most popular movie. They make billions of dollars practically from showing these superheroes that live forever, practically live forever, and live forever with some extraordinary powers. So everyone wishes and they idolize. It's kind of a natural thing to do it. Ultimately, it's there in the soul to idolize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna is like that. He is actually very naturally the leader of all the living entities. And so, but the tendency is there. The tendency is there to do it in today. So if one can live forever. Now, when you go in the higher planetary systems, the Devas, we read according to their position in the higher planetary systems, they live a long time and they don't become old. We read they don't become old. In some Devas, they become a little bit more older just in the last year of their life or something like that. But practically they don't become old. They live a long, long time, like young looking, and they don't become sick. It's not like that. We have all these things very much on earth as human beings. So you don't read many stories that Agni is very sick. Today he can't come to the work. Because today he's sick. Today we can't have any fire because Agni is sick. Today we don't have sun. Surya is a little bit sick today. There's no sun available. Next week he thinks he'll be better. So next week we'll get some sun because he's sick. They don't get sick. And people would, they wish they could be like that. Who wants to be sick? That's the, and so human beings in Kali Yuga, everyone wants to have long life. If they could live forever, they would very much like to be like that, and live forever. But at least long life and healthy life, But just in the Kali Yuga, as people get older, naturally. For people on earth, they become sick. Old age is one of the sufferings of people, especially old age and disease is the sufferings of people in the age of Kali. Anyone older person will tell you that every day there's something wrong. Today is pain here, tomorrow is over here, over here, in the knee, or simultaneously all these things. And so you can't see so well anymore, you can't hear so good anymore. You had before, when you were younger, you had good hair, but now no more hair. No more, and your teeth. I remember one time when Father Kelly came to... Was Father Kelly? Or someone, he was a priest. He came here to meet Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was just casual in the beginning. He was around about the same age as Prabhupada. And he said to him, "How's your health? Is all right?" And then he said, "Do you still have all your teeth?" He said, "Do you still have all your teeth? Because when you get older, you start losing your teeth. And you have to eat kind of funny." I always remember when I was young, I got a shock when my grandfather was there. I saw nearby his bed there were some teeth in a glass in water. I was just a young boy, and I was very shocked. I went running to my mother. "Oh, there's teeth!" The teeth is in the jar in the water. "Oh, don't worry, that's just your grandfather's teeth. That's his false teeth. He just takes that and puts in the water." Clean it. Yeah, dentures. So it's like that. They take them out, and because all the teeth are gone, and so they have to wear these things. And at night time they take them out and put them in the jar. So he just forgot them over there. So I saw and I ran out, all shocked. So it's like that. But in the higher planetary systems, and certainly in the person of Lord Brahma, he doesn't have like that. He's not worried about his teeth. He doesn't have even body made of the material elements as like us. His body is mainly made of the element of ether, very subtle, you can't even see. He makes himself visible. Also there's description in the various Puranas of Lord Brahma. He's very huge size. There's one description, if he comes on his swan, and he has to reduce according to where he's going. If it just comes normally, the swan carrier, even the foot of his swan carrier would cover the whole earth. Practically he is so big, even the swan carrier, he's so big. And he adjusts his size where he goes. He's got all mystic power. And not made, our body is made the earth and the water. So, we know the Devas have different types of bodies and made of predominantly one element, the fire element or the water element and so on. So their position is different. So Hiranyakashipu, he wants all these things. And so this is an example of also very clever sneaky intelligence. How he's asking for all these things. Very, very sneaky. He's all right, that he's understood that Lord Brahma is not beyond death himself, although it's like he's beyond death, but so he's asking in a roundabout way how to not be killed by anyone. And also, as I mentioned, he wants to be the Lord of, give me soul lordship. This is interesting. Soul, he doesn't want to share the power with anyone else. It's not me and this one and that one and that one together will rule the universe. No one else, just me. He said, give me sole lordship over all the living entities and even those who are presiding deities over the different elements. I want to be lord of them also. No one else with me. just like Lord Shiva, that is understood, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, the three. Between them, one is in control in the mode of goodness, one. And so between them, the modes are controlled. But Hiranyakashipu didn't want to be with one other one or two other ones like that. And with three, he wanted to be just himself. No one should be my competitor. So this is the position. He just wanted to be like a god in this material world, and he was using his intelligence how to ask in roundabout way to attain all these things. But ultimately it's futile. So Lord Brahma awarded him these benedictions, but ultimately futile, because everyone, even Lord Brahma himself who was giving the benediction, he has to come to the end of his life, even fantastic from our position. He has to come to the end of the life. And Prabhupada makes this comment in his purport. He says that one can perform all sorts of austerities and meditations and yoga and achieve so much, but ultimately it's all vanquished. But the mercy of the Lord, he says here, any powers that are given by the Lord, especially in advancement in Krishna consciousness, they're never vanquished. They're eternal. Hiranyakashipu never wanted to be vanquished, and he was using his... This is an example of misused intelligence and abuse of position. Abuse of position. So he gets all these things, and because his intelligence is polluted, as soon as he gets, then he wants to abuse his power. So this is very much like the lower classes of people. The lower classes of people, they get their sense gratification. Immediately they get and they abuse it. They want to cause so much trouble for others. And we see in the world today is going on in so many different ways. That the abuse of power, abuse of intelligence. So Hiranyakashipu had great intelligence, very, very sharp intelligence, very, very sharp. And he understood things. But at the same time, you cannot thwart the intelligence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was very, very, very smart. All right, well, my brother was killed by an animal, then I want that I not be killed by any animal. No animal can kill me. So, of course, animals, many animals are very dangerous. So many animals can kill us. If we go in the jungle or something like that, can be wild boars and tigers and elephants. We can be killed by so many animals. So protect me from being killed by the animals. Any animal, anywhere, from any place. No animal can kill me. And especially my brother was killed by the animal. So no animal. So he's using his intelligence, but who is more intelligent than the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You cannot compete with the intelligence of Krishna. Krishna is unlimitedly intelligent. Whatever we think we can do, especially in this world, Krishna is beyond this world. He's going to be more intelligent. So we'll read that he comes. He's no animal, half animal. He's not animal, and half man. He's not man. So what type of intelligence is needed to even conceive of such a being? That is intelligence is beyond this world. Beyond this world. Such intelligence. Ordinary person. And that's just a small manifestation of the Lord's intelligence. That's not the whole manifestation of the Lord's intelligence. Lord has some unlimited intelligence. You think your puny intelligence is going to be better than Krishna's intelligence? You think you can outwit Krishna? You can't outwit Krishna. So the more we accept that, and we cooperate with the plan of Krishna, so more or less, every materialist in this world who doesn't accept the supremacy of the Supreme Personality is trying to outwit the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by so many arrangements. Everyone in their own way is trying to do the same thing as Hiranyakashipu. So they're trying to, but better to understand that you can't outmaneuver or out-intelligence Krishna. Better to, if someone is more powerful than you, more stronger and more opulent and more intelligent than you, best to submit yourself to that person and go along with what they want to do. Otherwise, everything will be finished for you immediately. So for the devotees, they have got at least sufficient intelligence to cooperate with the plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You're all right, you've come to the world, live in the world in such a way, but at the same time you can act in such a way that you can go back home, back to Godhead. This is actually proper use of intelligence. Here we see here, Hiranyakashipu is misusing intelligence, asking all these things, trying to be independent of Krishna. Ultimately, he'll get these things, he enjoys for a while, he terrorizes the universe, as the next chapter, terrorizes the universe, and but then in due course of time, these things will be vanquished, and then ultimately what's the use? It's futile. Better to be more intelligent, engage in eternal activities. Hare Krishna. Jai, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Does anyone have any question or comment they want to ask? Oh. Yes.
So you gave an example of a devotee facing issue in a Muslim country, and
facing
issue of praying God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So I've seen that. I've heard in my family and friends.
You're talking about a devotee playing God?
Yeah, praying God.
Praying or playing? Praying with an R. Okay.
Yeah, in other country, and we read Gita and we know that Supreme Lordhead is Krishna, and I still have this question: how other religions formed as Muslim or Christianity? How did this form? Did Krishna create them? And how did the classes formed? In India, there is still, people
classes.
Yes, people are still get treated based on their class.
Well, these are due to your the individual desires, and Krishna is giving reactions according to your activities and your qualities and your nature. So if someone has a certain nature to worship God, or someone doesn't want to worship God, Krishna will create a situation. Atheist, you want to be? All right. And you can be in this situation. And there's someone who wants to worship Deva, and then he actually is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. He gives the faith to that individual how to do it. Krishna is awarding and giving reactions to you according to your desires. So all the different nature people, it is because of their previous activity. So it's a combination of your desires and your actions, and Krishna is awarding the results. So you have desire, you want to be the king of the world, but you didn't act so nicely, so then you won't get that exactly, but you'll get something a little that kind of accommodates both, but not exactly. So he sees your activities over the last life and maybe the life before. He sees your desire, and because he's got supreme intelligence, it is a false thing, but because you want it, then Krishna gives you that. So anyone who comes in the world in different positions, a similar question was asked last night in our program, in the youth program, and it is our desire and our activities to create the situation. So the world is a given, and there are certain rules and regulations how the world is going on. This is coming under Krishna. So therefore, if you have to know how to live in the world according to these, just like when you go to a country, you have to live in the country according to the laws of that country. You can't, you go from here, America, you can't all of a sudden just driving the car on the normal way you drive here or India. If there's, other cars are coming other direction. I remember I went with one devotee, we were all from here, he's from New Zealand, and all of a sudden he's driving on the left-hand side in America. And we didn't think anything of it because we were just used to that side. And then all of a sudden there's all this traffic coming and they're shining their lights, beeping their horn. Oh, we're on the wrong side. So you have to know what is the laws of that country. You have to find out. So, but you're in that situation there because of your desire, just like you have a desire to go to that country. And so by your activities, by your endeavor, you've acquired the money to buy the ticket, and you get on the plane, you're able to go there. So by our previous life activities, we acquire certain nature, and Krishna gives us that nature. So it's more not Krishna doing it, but you're doing it, but He's arranging it. He's the arranger of your activities. And so individually and collectively, sometimes you have to be bundled together with the others in such a way because you're very similar, so you're put together. But Krishna has his macro plan, and ultimately he wants to bring everyone, but someone is very determined. He has to go around and round a little bit in the world, go here, there, whatever. But it's our activity that creates these things, not Krishna. Krishna wants us to finish up and come back to Godhead. But our activities are causing all these different divisions, and even the different types of worship. That is our desire also. You want to worship certain way, this way, that way, and the situation. Of course, it may be they created these things, but that ability to create is given by Krishna. Is all right? Answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mahatma.
Hare Krishna, Ramai Swami. I come across a lot of physiotherapists because recently I had total knee replacement. So they are very proud that they are eating meat. And they always tell me, if you eat meat, you will recover very soon.
You what?
You will recover very soon. But I asked them that, why do you put a living animal in a barbecue, hot oil? Don't you think you are giving so much trouble to the animal? So my question is, how to make them aware that everybody has got a soul and we can't disturb them because they have got consciousness. Because of the soul, they have got consciousness.
Well, you have to be...
And that's why they are feeling so much agony. So why you are killing for the tongue, taste of tongue, you are killing so many animals and want to be fit. And then fit for how long? You never know. You can leave anytime, anybody. So how to make them aware that when they are eating meat, they are killing somebody who has got soul, and because of the soul, they have got consciousness.
Yes. Well, you have to understand the philosophy very carefully and how to present these things in a very, depending on the person you're speaking with, they're very scientific, academically minded, specialist type of personalities. You have to present in such a way that they're very familiar with. Maybe you have to study how they understand things. And therefore Prabhupada always wanted that the Bhaktivedanta Institute with our devotees who have the PhD, and he wanted them to present our philosophy put in terms in the language that the academics use. You see, so you have to and this is true not only for the academics, but any type of person you're presenting to. You have to find out, the good preacher, he will always find out what is the characteristics of that person, how they're thinking, and then present it in a way that they can relate to. If you present it in another way, they may not be able to relate to that thing. So you have to present it in academic terms and learn. Maybe you should talk with the devotees in the Bhaktivedanta Institute, how they're presenting the philosophy of Krishna consciousness to the academics. And then they will be able to, there's many of them around the world who are in that institute, how they present to the academics. You know yourself, you're more or less an academic position, how they talk in a certain type of language they talk. They have a certain type of rationale. And if you try to present it, and generally speaking, you have to be very, very patient. And you have to understand that many will not accept it. And they can't accept it because their intelligence is not purified enough to be able to, because it's not a question of just mundane intelligence. It's a question of spiritual intelligence to understand that thing. And especially if they're eating meat, that very much covers, that mode of ignorance, very much covers their intelligence very hard. Prabhupada used to comment on people eating so much meat that they haven't got sufficient brain substance and their intelligence is covered to understand these more subtle spiritual things. They've got intelligence, they can do so many things, but that is like a superficial intelligence. Intelligence to understand spiritual things is much deeper, is more subtle. And to get that type of intelligence, the intelligence has to be purified. And so those types of people, they like their meat so much, maybe they'll get them to try some Krishna prasad. Why, this food is so nice, why cause the harm and the suffering to the many animals that have to be killed, so you can, and this is all the bad habits. Their whole life they've been living like that.
Thank you very much.
So, one has to be purified. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I have one question from last night. Like you were saying that Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the combination of incarnation of both Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. Is there any specific pastime or leela that they both have to come in together actually?
Yeah, there's one work, Advaita Prakash, one book about Advaita-Acharya Prabhu. The whole life of Advaita-Acharya is explained there, and in the beginning, how he was, in the beginning it was the Sadashiva, the Shiva beyond this world, he has an abode. He was thinking of the people of the Kali Yuga. He was very much compassionate towards them, and he went to the Mahavishnu and on the ocean, and he went into meditation for 800 years. This is described for 800 years. And he meditated and prayed to Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu came, and the whole description is there. And he said that you and I are in one sense one person. I understand your desire, and you are also practically in the Godhead category. And so, there's a whole discussion described there in that particular work, Advaita Prakash, and how they had conversation, and Mahavishnu embraced the Sadashiva, and all of a sudden their bodies merged and they became one, incarnated as Advaita-Acharya. The combination of Sadashiva and Advaita-Acharya, Mahavishnu is Advaita-Acharya. So there's one book like that. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thanks for nice class. Maharaj, you're talking about puppets saying that they are Asuras. So I just want to know Suras, Asuras and Rakshasas in the human life. Can you tell me example like Asuras, what I heard that who those read scriptures and practice is called Suras, and read scriptures and who don't apply themselves is called Asuras. Where are the Rakshasas stands there, Maharaj, in human life?
General definition is that the Suras accept the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, and the Asuras, they don't accept the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. So someone who's, of course even the Suras can sometimes act like Asuras. You can be Sura, but you're acting like Asura. Just like Indra, he wanted to punish the inhabitants of the Vrindavan, and with all the rain. So he's some time to time, because of the effects of the modes of lower modes, mode of passion, especially mode of ignorance, they can act like asuras. But generally, they don't accept. He didn't accept the supremacy of Krishna, and so he is acting like asura. So general definition is like that. Those who don't accept the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of God, they're in the asura category, and the ones who accept and follow nicely, they're the sura category. General definition. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi, Hare Hare.